Do you want me to read you the questions before we start?
Oh no, let's just go. Let's go.
I agree.
Let's just see.
This is me last night writing notes
Right,
afterwards. Hey everybody, welcome back to Hart Talks. Well, I've got a guest today and this is Nathaniel Hall, and he is an actor and he is doing a show here in London at the moment called First Time. Welcome first of all to Hart Talks.
Having me.
It's great to have you here. I saw Nathaniel's show yesterday. It was so funny. You know, there was some really hysterical parts in it, but it was also really heartbreaking in other parts. And you'll get to hear a bit about the show now, because I'm going to give you 60 seconds to tell us about your show.
First Time is an autobiographical solo piece about my experiences growing up with HIV. So I was diagnosed in 2003 when my first sexual experience with another man when I was 16. He was older than me. I'd just come out as gay. It was kind of a summer romance. As a result of that, I contracted HIV, but I didn't tell anyone, didn't tell my family for nearly 14 years. 2017, had a bit of a mental breakdown, and then decided to turn that around and do what any self-respecting person would do and turn it into a show and perform a trauma for everyone every night on stage. There you go.
Exactly. And that was right to the last second. So yeah, so that's a basic idea of what Nathaniel's show is all about. And obviously, being an actor and writer myself, and it's always really interesting to see what other actors are doing, and especially one-person shows, because I just think you've got to have balls to do that, don't you? Because there's nobody there. It's down to you, and it can be quite scary at times, can't it?
Oh my god, it's like when I first did the show back in 2018, I was like, why am I putting myself through this?
Yeah.
Not so much the content of what the show's about, which is hard enough as it is, but just the process of being up on stage. One of the reasons why I made the show was because my career had kind of stagnated a little bit, and I didn't see people like me represented up on stage. I didn't see my story represented. There's loads of amazing work about HIV and AIDS and film, but it's lots of it is about the past. It's about the history of the epidemic, and I really wanted to make something about now, but also it was just an all or nothing moment. And actually, I think there was, although in one regard I was really scared, like there was so much fear. In another way, sort of, if we're thinking professionally, it was a bit of a like nothing to lose. Like if this goes really well, great, and if it doesn't, you know, this will be my swan song, and I'll go down, you know, on the Titanic and sink, and that's fine. And that will be like, okay, go and find your happiness somewhere else. I was lucky that it went all right.
It definitely did go all right. Tonight is Nathaniel's last show here in London, but he's going to tell you at the end of the video where he's going to next, and if you can catch this show, then you should. I was listening because as somebody that's done a one-man show, I was listening to the audience last night afterwards and coming out, and you know, it's always interesting to listen to chatter. So I could hear the positive things that people were saying, and the positive things that have been online. Can you absorb really what this show is doing for people? Because, you know, we were talking earlier about how it's just our story, and that's how we think about it, isn't it? Yeah. So have you really absorbed what a difference this show could be making to somebody? Yeah,
it's like you said before when we were just chatting, like everyone says it's remarkable, and it was like, no, it's just my life. Like, you know, and actually, you know, when you commit it to paper, or when you sort of then say it out loud, like, oh, actually, there is these moments that are remarkable, and it's had remarkable success, and that's, you know, it's not just me. I do have a team of people, you know, and they are amazing. Thank you, all of them. You know who you are, and a team of amazing people supporting me as well, not just working on the show. But the thing that really makes my heart feel very full is when I get messages from people. Even people who've not seen the show. So when we first did the show in 2018, it got a huge amount of press attention. And at one point I was trending higher than Jennifer Aniston's bangs on BuzzFeed.
See, what more could you ask for?
I've got a screenshot of it because it didn't last very long. Yeah, there was all that going on, but then I started to get messages from people who had read my story, and then the BBC News version of my story was translated into Spanish,
right,
and was shared across the whole Spanish-speaking world. So then I was getting messages in Spanish, going to Google Translate and changing them, and then, you know, there was people saying I can't, where I live, there is, you know, so much stigma and discrimination, and I can't come out, I can't tell my parents, but you've helped me in some small way. And actually one of the most powerful messages that I got from someone was someone who isn't HIV positive, is not a gay man or anyone living with HIV, and it was a woman who was in a domestically abusive situation.
Right.
And they messaged me and they said, I've known for a long time I need to get out of this, and I've been building the support network around me to do that, and I've just read your article and it's spurred me on to go, and I'm getting goosebumps now talking about it.
Yeah,
and I was like, I mean, I remember lying in bed, I think that was the 2 days after a sort of first premiered the show in Manchester, and just sort of like crying.
Yeah.
I had about 600 messages to go through, and I wanted to reply to every single one of them as well.
Yeah.
Even if it was, you know, I know as well, and you'll know this, when you share your story, lots of people want to open up to you, and you also have to protect yourself. And go, remember that you're not the world counsellor.
Yes, exactly.
So even if it's just a thank you so much for sharing that with me.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the best on your journey.
Yeah.
Or here's an organisation you can go to.
Yeah. Because we don't have the training, do we?
No,
we're
exactly.
Just, we're just us.
And there's something very powerful about sharing and sharing your truth that helps other people to open up. But yeah, that's one thing you've got to be very careful of. Yeah, definitely.
So what has been the hardest thing about doing your show?
I think the hardest thing, it's not to do with the show. Making the show and standing up and telling your story in that spotlight is actually quite safe. As a performer anyway.
Yes, yeah.
Lots of people go, what? And you're like, but actually as a performer the spotlight feels very safe. And actually after I'd made the show and all the kind of media stuff had died down, I had this moment where I went to get my hair cut in the barbers that I always go to. And it's a really nice barbers. It's still a semi-macho environment, but it's right in the heart of Manchester's northern quarter, and Manchester's a really gay city, so you know it always feels like a safe space. But we've always got, as gay men, I think we've always got this thing inside us where we're checking, is it safe to say these things because of being bullied when we're younger or whatever. And it was a barber that I'd never had, really lovely lad, and he sort of said to me, oh, so, you know, as you do, small talk, so what do you do? And I just had this moment where I went, oh, right, now I've got to live what I've just preached on stage and in all these interviews that I've just done, which was live openly and boldly and proudly with your HIV status. That's the front line of activism, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like living truthfully in that moment. And I had all those things go through my head in a millisecond of like, is it safe to say so? What's his reaction going to be? I'm going to have to sit with him for an hour whilst he cuts my hair. And I went, no, you've got to do it. But that actually was probably more terrifying, to just go, I'm a HIV activist and I've made a show about my experiences living with HIV. And then since then that's got really, really easy. But
it's just that first time.
Yeah, so that was definitely one of the hardest moments.
Right.
Other than having to also tell my family before I made the show, because they didn't know.
Yeah, well that was my next question actually, because you talk a lot about your family in the show. How was it for them seeing the show?
My mum said on the first time they saw it, she said my dad had never held a hand that much in 10 years, which was kind of cute and heartbreaking at the same time. I think the show was my way of saying sorry. I think that's quite clear at the end of the show.
Yeah.
You see it.
Yeah.
Because I'm really close to my family, and I'm very blessed in that sense to have a very loving, supporting family. My mum told me I was gay at 16. You know, that's never been any issue, even with my extended family, my grandparents. I felt like, I suppose, a little bit guilty that I'd not used them that I had that, but I'd not taken advantage of that when I was diagnosed at 16. But at that time, I always felt like I'd let them down.
Yeah.
Because I'd had the conversation with my mum around the time when they found out that I was seeing this guy that was older than me, and they were like, "He's too old. Are you using protection?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, we haven't." But she was like, "You need to go and get tested." And then when. So there was all this sort of guilt and shame that I'd let them down. Yeah. So actually, when I was making the show, there was stuff I was putting in, and my director was going, "Oh, do you really want to have that in? Do you really want to say that? Do you really want to start the show with white powder on your face? You know, and swigging gin from a bottle and kind of being a little bit rude." And I went, "No, it has to be that. Yeah, it has to be kind of a warts and all, because they need to understand queer life, or the things that not everyone, but I think lots of queer people go through."
And it's the raw, unedited truth, isn't it? Yeah, that's the thing about it. You want to tell your story, and if you're going to tell it, you want to tell it honestly. Yeah, I think
totally.
Yeah. So I was diagnosed 2006. I was an actor, still acting, and in 2006, I remember hearing a casting director saying, he was talking about somebody else, but he said, "You will never work as an HIV positive actor on the stage." And that was 2006, it's not like a million years ago. So career wise, I was petrified. So did you have those same kind of fears as far as your career was concerned?
I think so, and I think as well, the acting world is changing in terms of casting, and also roles that are available, and there's this thing as well, like as a gay man, it's like, don't be too gay because you won't get any roles. Like they used to say it to people at drama school. They used to drum it out of people. Like,
it's shocking, isn't it?
And I think that's the core part of your identity,
and we hold on to it, don't we?
I graduated in 2008. There was always that fear of kind of not being enough just as I am. Yeah. And acting is a strange world. And I always thought I needed to play into that. I needed to buy into what everyone was telling me about this world. But actually, the most success I've had is when I've been authentic. Yeah. And then from the show, more stuff is happening. Yeah. So actually, it was not living authentically that was holding me back.
It was holding you back. Yeah.
So actually, as soon as I started to live authentically as myself, the people that value that are the people that you gravitate towards, and then something magic happens.
It's great, isn't it, now that we've got people that are, celebrities that are coming out and they're saying, "I'm HIV positive, I've been living with HIV, this is what U equals U means." In 2003 and 2006, we just weren't discussing it. It just wasn't being spoken about. So it kind of instilled the stigma that we had, didn't it? It just made us feel ashamed of who we were and what we were living with, didn't it? Yeah. So talking about stigma, tell me about dating with HIV for you.
Dating with HIV. Well, I've never dated without HIV.
Right.
So I don't have any kind of comparison. I went straight into a relationship. So the day I was diagnosed, I'd started college. It was about 2 weeks before my 17th birthday, and I went. I'd been flirting with this guy at college, and I texted him. He came over. I told him. He was the second person I told, and we had an 8-year relationship. Right. He was HIV negative, remained negative for that whole time. This was before, when I was diagnosed, you didn't go straight onto medication.
Yes, so that was the same.
Waited until your CD4, your white blood cell count was low. 200, yeah. So pretty much for the majority, the first 5 years of that relationship, I had a virus in me that I could pass on. Yeah. But he remained negative. We always used protection. But that had a profound impact, I think, on my relationship to sex and intimacy. And then we split up, and just all of a sudden thrown into the gay world of dating, and was like, what is this place? Oh my gosh, what is, like,
how do I do this?
Like, there's apps as well, like, to meet people and all that. And sort of threw myself into that, as you do, and kind of didn't really, I did it, but I didn't enjoy it. but I was like, this is how I have to do it. I tried loads of different approaches. I would tell people, I wouldn't tell them, you know, and then I went into another long-term relationship, this time with someone who was positive. And so that was a new thing for me, because then we got tested to make sure that we had the same strain as HIV, because it can be dangerous if you don't, and you can co-infect and get drug-resistant strains. So we did all that, and then we had a 5-year relationship. But he was the first person I ever had unprotected sex with,
right?
Which was very powerful, you know, and but now I've come out of that relationship just over a year ago, and now it's like we know you equals you.
That's the thing. So many things have changed. PrEP,
and it's like okay, so it's now like I'm having to rethink strategies, and you know, and actually there's no reason for me to tell a partner, and you know, but I actually, I mean, they must live under a rock if they don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel as well. I'm like, what?
But you know, obviously face rejection, and that the first time that happens, that really hurts. But the more it goes on, I'm just like,
yeah.
And what you're I don't want to associate with someone who hasn't taken the effort to educate themselves. But also as well, I like I say, I sort of threw myself into that sort of gay world of, you know, and hookups, and all that sort of stuff, and I guess you sort of see a little. I don't talk about that explicitly in the show, but drugs, alcohol, partying, all that sort of stuff is in there, and I sort of realised they're all great things. Look, there's no shade here. There's no shade. Like, they're great things if you're pursuing them for fun. Yeah. But I realised I wasn't, and I was using sex and drugs and alcohol. I was using sex for validation. Drugs and alcohol to mask pain.
Same for me.
I went, like, you're just not happy. Yeah. And so
this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah, and so now I'm not on any of the apps, and that's been a journey and a process to kind of get rid of those things because they weren't bringing me joy. Yeah. So I'm doing a bit of a Mary Kondo. Is that what she's called?
Yes.
You know, if it doesn't bring you joy,
get rid of it.
Say thank you to it and then get rid of it. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing at the moment in my life, and I feel happier for it. So we are on tour for the next 3 weeks. We go to next week. We are in. Let me get this. Is testing my knowledge. So we're doing a Yorkshire tour. So we're doing Scarborough, Harrogate, and York. Yeah. Then we go to Lichfield. And then Salford. Salford sold out. Right. Sorry. But we are coming back to Manchester. I'll touch on that later. Right. And then after that we have Newcastle, Bradford for Valentine's Day, and the day after we're doing 2 shows there. And then we have Lancaster, Harlow, and then Curve for DMU Pride, which is our last show on the 24th of Feb. Right. But then we're in the process of booking a longer 8-week tour in the autumn. Great. So we'll be coming back to London, hopefully to Brighton. Bristol is on the cards. We're looking at the southeast and southwest as well. We're hopefully going to do a 2-week run in Manchester around then as well. When it was on at the Edinburgh Festival, Scotsman, was it Scotsman? Scotsman gave us 4 stars. Attitudes magazine, 4 stars. The Stage, 5 stars. Russell T Davies gave him this, this amazing review. So really, it's had some amazing reviews. I had to pinch myself because it was. I put yesterday on social media. We've got 72 stars out of 80. Yeah. But that's changed. That's changed. I got another review just come out this morning, so that's now 77 stars out of 85. Which I was like, what? Just for telling your story. That's how it feels, isn't it? And also, so again, and it goes back to what I said before, and about me always trying to, in this industry, trying to be someone else. And actually, the minute I just went, do you know what? Just be yourself. Just be me. Yeah. Oh my God! Like something magic happened. Like I said before, I'm just a kid from Stockport. I don't know what's going on at the moment. Do you know what I think is? I think the lesson that this is for you and for anybody watching is our stories are so powerful and they have so much strength. And your story for somebody else can be that turning point. That thing that stops them from taking an overdose, stops them from making that terrible decision or doing the wrong thing.
and it's just our stories, you know, and that's what we've been talking about. It's, you know, to us, it's just us telling our truth, you know. Where can people contact you?
So they can follow me on Twitter at Nathaniel J Hall, or Instagram at Nathaniel J Hall, or my theatre company with my co-artist director Chris Hoyle is at DB Theatre on both those platforms. And also you can go to my website, which is nathanielJhall.co.uk.
Are the dates for the... Are they on the website?
Everything's all on the website, yes.
Right,
so, yeah.
well I'll link Nathaniel's website as well. So thank you. This has been really nice, and it's amazing, as I say, it's just amazing to see the way people put their life out there in a different way, or in the same way, or what, you know. So it was very enlightening, it was very emotional, it was very funny, but I also recognised so many things in Nathaniel's show that I just went, aha. I was just like, yeah, you know, and even though I felt as if our stories were very different, but some of the things were very similar, you know, very much the same. So and you don't have to be HIV positive to go and see this show. You don't. It's a story of living your truth, you know, and being who you are, and that life doesn't, you know, we strive for perfection, don't we?
I'm a perfectionist.
And I think as an actor, it's drilled into us, you know, to be the best, to be the, you know, and we strive for that. And I think we have to let go of that sometimes, don't we? Because perfection, there is no perfection.
Exist.
No.
So
make sure to like, share, comment and subscribe on this video, and I'll be back in 2 weeks' time. And please, if you have seen Nathaniel's show and you want to drop a comment down below, it'd be lovely to hear what you think of the show. And I hope we see you again. Maybe next time you're here.
Maybe
come back and say how it's been doing it all over again.
Okay. And do you know what I've just realised? Everyone's only been able to see the first 2 words of what my t-shirt says. So I'm going to stand up and go, so it says stand by your trans.
Yeah, bro.
So
stand by. Everybody will be like, well, what are we waiting for?
So my friend, who is a trans performance artist, and this is a t-shirt from her show,
right?
And she said something really powerful the other day, and I really loved it. And she said, we've got all these beautiful letters within our community, LGBTQ, A+, whatever you want to, you know, you can add as many as you want. And she said, and we all have our cause, we're all fighting, you know, she's trans, she's fighting for her cause. But she said, actually what we should do is we should all be picking another letter.
Right.
And championing another letter and holding them up. And she said for her it's the B at the moment, because some trans and non-binary people are attacking the bisexual community, because that means and I just thought it was a really beautiful way of putting it. So I'm a G with a T at the moment. I mean, I love a gin and tonic.
I was going to say that.
But I'm a G with a T because, you know, the trans community is coming under horrendous attack particularly from our press as well. So that's what my t-shirt says. So,
we need to support each other, don't we? We really do. Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks Nathaniel, and I will see you later. Bye.